Hello, and welcome to Jesus in the Modern World, connecting with Christ as an adult and following his teachings in the 21st century. I am the author, Bo James Thomas, and you can get this book available in paperback form online, along with 7 of my other books. But I really wanted this information to be available for free for anyone who wanted to find it, and I thought a free audiobook was the best way for me to do that. So let's just jump right into it. Chapter 1, Rediscovering Jesus, Why His Message Still Matters Today. I didn't grow up in church. My family believed in God. We prayed at meals. We spoke about the importance of faith, and there was always a sense that something bigger was at work in our lives. But Jesus wasn't central to our conversations. I knew his name. I had heard stories about him, but I didn't understand who he really was. And honestly, I didn't feel like I needed to. To me, spirituality was more about a general sense of goodness, being kind, believing in something greater, and trusting that everything happened for a reason. I thought that was enough. After all, I wasn't a bad person. I wasn't against Christianity. I just didn't see why I needed to personally connect with Jesus. But as life moved forward, my vague spirituality started to feel insufficient. When I faced real struggles, times of uncertainty, heartbreak, anxiety, I realized that my belief in something greater wasn't enough to anchor me. I was searching for answers, for peace, for something deeper. That's when I began to rediscover Jesus, not as a distant historical figure, not as a religious icon, but as someone real, someone who was speaking directly into my life today. Jesus beyond religion, more than just a historical figure. For years, I thought of Jesus the way I thought of great philosophers or moral teachers, someone who had lived a long time ago and left behind some wise teachings. I didn't reject his existence, but I also didn't see what he had to do with my daily life. Then I actually started reading his words for myself. I didn't just skim over quotes or hear secondhand interpretations. I went straight to the source. And what I found was nothing like what I expected. Jesus didn't just teach good morals. He spoke with an authority that had no mere teacher could claim. He didn't just offer wisdom. He declared that he was the way, the truth, and the life. John 4:6. He didn't just challenge society's norms. He transformed the way people saw God. The more I read, the more I realized that Jesus wasn't just another religious leader. He was the answer to questions I had been asking all along. The relevance of Jesus in a modern world. At first, I wondered if Jesus' message, spoken over 2,000 years ago, could still have any meaning in today's fast-paced, technologically driven world. But as I studied his teachings, I was struck by how much they spoke to the exact struggles we face today. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Matthew 11:28. In a world of constant pressure, burnout, and stress, Jesus offers peace that no career, no achievement, and no self-help method can provide. Love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. Matthew 5:44. In an era of division, cancel culture, and online outrage, Jesus calls us to radical love, forgiveness, and reconciliation. Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy, and where thieves break in and steal, but store up for yourselves treasures in heaven. Matthew 6:19 and 20. Our world glorifies wealth, fame, and possessions, yet Jesus reminds us that the real security is found in eternal things, not temporary ones. Jesus didn't just speak to his generation. He spoke to every generation. His words aren't outdated. They are exactly what we need right now. Why we drift away from God. Even though I believed in God growing up, I spent much of my life keeping faith in the background. It wasn't that I rejected him. I just got busy. Life had a way of distracting me. School, work, relationships, entertainment, Everything around me seemed more urgent than faith. It wasn't until I found myself in moments of struggle that I started to notice the emptiness. When things weren't going well, I didn't think much about God. When things were going well, I didn't think much about God. But when I faced disappointment, stress, or uncertainty, I realized that my foundation was weak. I was relying on my own strength, my own plans, my own ability to figure things out. And when those things failed, I had nothing solid to stand on. That's when I came across Jesus' parable about the two builders. Everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the wind blew and beat against that house, yet it did not fall, because it had its foundation on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who built his house on sand. The rain come down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell with a great crash. Matthew 7:24 through 27. That hit me. I'd been building my life on shifting sand, on success, on people's approval, on my own understanding. And when storms came, everything fell apart. But Jesus was offering something different, solid ground, a foundation that would hold no matter what happened. Taking the first steps towards rediscovering Jesus. I didn't find Jesus in a dramatic, life-changing moment. There was no thunder in the sky, no overwhelming spiritual experience. Instead, my rediscovery of him was slow, intentional, and deeply personal. Number 1, reading his words for myself. I started with the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, not as a religious obligation, but as a way to understand who Jesus really was. The more I read, the more I saw that his words were speaking directly to me. Number 2, praying honestly. Instead of rehearsed prayers or empty words, I started talking to God like I would talk to a friend. At first, it felt unnatural, but over time, I began to sense his presence in a real way. Number 3, applying his teachings. I didn't just want to know about Jesus, I wanted to follow him. That meant making changes in my life, forgiving when it was hard, trusting him when I was uncertain, and choosing love over resentment. 4, seeking community. I had spent so much of my life thinking faith was a solo journey, but I realized that Jesus never called people to follow him alone. I found others who were on the same journey, and that support made all the difference. Jesus isn't just for church people. He's for you. Maybe you're like me. Maybe you didn't grow up in church and Jesus was never the center of your spiritual journey. Maybe you once believed in him but got caught up in the busyness of life. Maybe you're skeptical, wondering if he has anything to offer you. Here's what I want you to know. Jesus isn't just for religious people. He isn't just for those who have followed him their whole lives. He is for you right now, exactly where you are. His message still matters because we still need him. We need his peace in a world full of anxiety. We need his love in a culture filled with division. We need his truth in a time of confusion. And the best part, you don't have to have it all figured out to take the first step. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be willing. This book is about that journey, about rediscovering Jesus, not as a distant figure from history, but as a living, breathing Savior who is calling you by name. Because no matter where you've been or how far you've strayed, he's been waiting for you all along.